Hello, my name is Alicia Allen, and today I'll be looking at Jerome's Bruner theory of instruction. I'll be zooming in on its impact and relevance in educational history. Bruner's theory primarily focused on the importance of active learning and the role of culture in education. He proposed that learners construct their own understanding and knowledge of the world through their personal experience and reflection. His work highlights that education should foster discovery and problem solving, promoting deeper understanding than just rote memorization. His work is very significant because it reshapes how we approach education and learning. His focus on cultural context of learning underscores the importance of diverse perspective. Students should be given the opportunity of many different representation to provide a framework for developing a curriculum that caters to different learning styles, thereby making education more accessible and very effective for all students. During the 1960s, the dominant educational theories included the behaviorism and traditional approaches to instruction. So we had champion theorists like B.F. Skinner, which primarily focus on observable behavior and reinforcement of learning through rewards and punishment. Those methods were teacher-centered and it emphasized great rote memorization and direct instruction. In contrast to Bruner's theory, it was introduced a more constructivist approach, advocating for active learning and exploration, which began to challenge the prevailing methods at the time. And so Bruner's key concept of learning has to do with discovery learning, scaffolding, and spiral curriculum. Discovery learning is believed that it is most effective when students actively engage with the material and discover concepts on their own. So it encourages them to explore, to problem solve, to develop critical thinking skills, and give them the opportunity to construct their own understanding than just passively present information to them. Scaffolding refers to the support that is provided by the teachers or peers to help students reach higher levels of understanding or to produce more higher levels of skills. So it involves breaking down materials or tasks into more manageable parts and provide that guidance and that resource or that feedback which is necessary at the time for a particular learner. And so learners will become more competent and support will be removed gradually, enabling them to work independently. Whereas spiral curriculum has to do with revisiting um, a topic at a simpler level and then probably move on to another concept and then revisit that concept that was teaching more like a loop and increase its complexity, right? So this approach reinforces learning and helps students to make connections across different subjects and contexts. Bruner's learning theory is very pivotal in educational psychology. Uh, I've spoken about constructivist theory, giving learners the opportunity to actively get involved in their learning process. So it focused more on they creating their own uh, knowledge based on their experience and exploration, more than just giving them the material to just consume remotely, but especially by memorization. I have mentioned discover learning, giving students that environment that allows them to engage in problem solving and inquiry, fostering their critical thinking skills and providing deeper understanding, cognitive development. This is very important because this has to do with the cognitive processes that are involved and how students' understanding evolves through different stages and experience. The cultural context. This involves the role of culture in shaping their learning experiences, advocating for education that is culturally relevant and inclusive to each learner's diverse background and context in teaching practices. What are some of the critiques of Bruner's theory? Well, there is the the point of cognitive overload. Some critics think that Bruner's theory may not adequately consider cognitive load, especially in learners who struggle with self-directed learning. They feel like this can become burned out or overwhelming for students that learn, especially in this type of way. In terms of cultural context, some critics feels like um, Bruner's theory may not fully address the diverse ways different cultures approach learning, and they believe that this can limit I can't call this word applicability of his ideas across varied educational concepts. Others believe that there's a lack of empirical support um, for how effective the spiral curriculum um, is in terms of its robustness uh, that will validate various research claims. When students pursue topics that interest them, it leads more to personalized and relevant learning experiences. So this autonomy can increase motivation and it enables students to take ownership of their own education. Also, let's talk about real world application. So, discovery learning often involves hands-on activities that relates to real-world situation. So, this practical application helps students to see the relevance of their learning um, experiences and enable them to take charge at the same time. So discovery learning transform teaching methods and the curriculum. First and foremost, there's a shift from teacher-centered approach to student-centered approach. So traditional teaching methods often focus on direct instruction from the teacher, whereas discovery learning shift this dynamics and prioritize students' inquiry and exploration, allowing teachers to act more like facilitators than dispensers of knowledge. All right, let's talk about the inquiry-based learning. The curricula have been designed to incorporate inquiry-based approach where students pose questions, they investigate, they draw conclusions that can lead to interdisciplinary learning as students make the connection between subjects area. Project-based learning. Discovery learning has led to a rise in project-based learning, where students work on projects that requires investigation and problem solving. So this method emphasizes collaboration and real-world experience. The use of technology. The rise of educational technology has facilitated discovery learning by providing resources for exploration such as simulation, interactive platforms, and access to a vast array of information that is placed online, encouraging self-directed learning. The spiral curriculum is an instructional framework that organizes learning in such a special way that enables students to revisit the concepts repeatedly over a period of time. Take, for example, in science, students might learn the basic properties of matter in their early grades. As they progress their education, they revisit the concept of matter, but at a deeper level, probably learning about automatic structures or states of matters or chemical reaction, and even quantum theory, thereby deepening their grade level. And each return to the topic introduced more complexity, reflecting the student's increasing cognitive abilities. So, how does the spiral curriculum allows for revisiting of concepts at increasing levels of complexity by building on prior knowledge as they revisit the concepts in future lessons or in advanced grades. They are able to connect new information which they had previously learned. So each time the complexity of these topics increases, but because they have foundation or prior knowledge, students are better equipped to handle more advanced aspects of these topics. Retention and reinforcement. When students re-encounter a topic repeatedly, they are more than likely to retain the information and apply it to various contexts. This constant reinforcement solidifies their understanding and allows them to approach problems from various angles, including their overall mastery of the subject. Bruner's instructional theory encourage flexibility to accommodate diverse learning style. He simply practices enactive, which means learn by doing or hands-on experience. Iconic, learn through visual representations like pictures or diagrams. Symbolic, learning through abstract symbols, such as language or mathematical notations. The R2D2 modeling alignment with Bruner stages for developmental environment was very popular and is today. So the first R is learned through reading and reflection. The second R is basically reviewing. So you're reflecting on the material to gain a deeper understanding. The first D is visualizing or displaying knowledge through the images or graphs or videos. And the second D is by doing. So this encourages the learners to utilize hands-on activities or experimental learning activities. Bruner's idea in today's classroom, such as technology enhanced learning. It supports discovery learning in terms of offering students access to interactive simulations, virtual labs, and research tools. Provides scaffolding through adaptive learning technologies which can adjust the difficulty level based on students' current performance, offering guidance as they progress towards more complex tasks. Examples in different educational levels. In elementary school, Bruner's enactive learning is supported by technology tools such as educational games and interactive touchscreens. In middle schools, Technology enables collaborative learning through platforms like Google Classroom and Kahoot. Higher education learning analytics helps instructors track students' progress and provide personalized feedback. Also, platforms like Wolfram Alpha in mathematics and data visualization softwares in sciences offer students advanced tools to work with abstract concepts and analyze data in ways that align with Bruner's symbolic stage. Bruner's instructional theory have influenced a shift away from rote memorization toward more student-centered learning approaches. His work emphasized the importance of encouraging students to explore, to ask questions, to think critically, which are essential skills for lifelong learning. His theory is also relevant in the current educational reform and technology integration in terms of educational standards are encouraged to develop the development of these skills, ensuring students are not just memorizing facts, but are also learning how to apply their knowledge in real world context. One of the major challenges to Bruner's instructional learning theory is that it takes more time and flexibility. Where we have a system where we have to make the delivery of content and direct instructions, we have timeline for testing and coverage of certain standards in the curriculum. It's hard to give students that opportunity to explore and to deliver on discovering things for themselves. And so that is a constraint that might need more room for time in order to cover larger amounts of content quickly. These are my references. Thank you for paying attention and thank you for accommodating me. I appreciate all of your efforts. Thank you.